So the format of this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you an inside look at what I cook when I'm not cooking for Kevin all over the world. The recipes that I like to eat myself normally, and hopefully there'll be some things that interest you and that you can cook on your own time as well. So today I'm going to be making a dish that when I would go into the office when this COVID situation wasn't happening, I would make as my meal prep. And it's basically a riff on Korean Dakgalbi with a few of my own little twists that make it maybe simpler for a Western grocery store and just my own way to suit my own tastes. So I've been trying to eat less meat lately. So normally I would use seitan, which is wheat gluten, not gluten-free. Surprise. But I couldn't find it in the store because things are just ravaged, and actually the brand that I like never restocks for some reason. So I'm using this extra firm tofu cutlet, which has a nice texture to it. It feels a lot more like a dense cut of meat than soft tofu, which will really hold up in this braising dish that we're making. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this into maybe 1 centimeter slices. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll see, I may even cut it in half into just little squares. Yeah, I think that looks good. Those are little bite-sized pieces. And this looks like a good amount for 2 servings. Yeah, 100 grams a serving. Now for veggies, traditionally you'd use cabbage or even napa. I've got kale. I like the texture. It doesn't break down as much in this long cooking process, so it retains a bit of a bite, which I like. Now I'm gonna use all this kale. It may seem like a lot, but it's gonna wilt probably about half the amount, maybe a third. I don't want the stems. If you fold the leaf over like this, you can get most of the stem out. And then for the rest of it, we're just gonna chop it into 2 centimeter pieces. And this I'm gonna put right in our braising pan, just for safekeeping. So now I'm gonna go ahead and make a sauce. That's why I have all of these other sauces. We're gonna combine them together and make sort of the marinade or braising liquid for this dish. You'll need this is gochujang. It is Korean fermented chili paste. It's got this sort of smoky, peppery taste to it that is not necessarily too spicy. You gotta experiment with different brands to find the one that you like. So if you're not into spice, try and find the least spicy one, I guess. And more I'm seeing this in Asian sections of grocery stores. So where you normally find your crappy ramen packets and soy sauce, I've been seeing this more and more as Korean cuisine gets more popular. So check your grocery store. If you don't have it, you can always order it online. Amazon has it. So now this stuff is really sticky, so a good way of getting it out of your measuring spoon is to first use your sesame oil to kind of coat the spoon. That way it comes right on out. So I'm gonna put in, let's say, almost a tablespoon of sesame oil. A lot of people think that's a lot. I really like the smoky flavor of sesame oil, so you can use less if you want to, but that's my jam. Next, we'll go in with the gochujang. Again, about 2 tablespoons of that. And see, most of it came right out. I'm gonna add in some rice vinegar. Again, about a tablespoon. We'll test for that later. Don't want it to be too vinegary. This is mirim, which is the Korean version of mirin, which is a sweetened rice wine. You know, if you have sake on hand, you can use sake. If you have white wine, you can use a splash of white wine, or just crappy cooking wine should be fine, because this is salted and sugared, non-drinkable on its own. Don't want to sip that. Another tablespoon. A couple tablespoons of soy sauce. I just get the massive jug because why not? Some black pepper. Some salt. Okay, so that's looking a little redder than I usually have it. So let's check the ratio. Pretty good. It's got a lot of vinegar, and we want to offset that with some sweetness. So I'm going to put in maybe 15 milliliters, a couple teaspoons of honey, and some garlic. So this dish uses a lot of garlic. I'm going to mince up 5 cloves based on the, 200 grams of tofu that we're going to put in. And this is more than 1 serving, by the way, so don't even worry about eating 200 whole grams of tofu and a whole head of kale on your own. I'm gonna go ahead and smash, peel, and mince these guys, but you can do it however you want. If you want it sliced, you can slice it. Do your thing. It's for the flavor, you know? The garlic is a key component. We put this in here because we're adding all the flavoring at once. This is just sort of a thing, a Korean technique that is done with these braises. So, oh yeah, very nice. So I put the kale directly into our braising pan for a good reason, because the first step is we're going to wilt the kale. We're gonna put this over some low heat, I'm gonna throw a lid on it, and the kale is gonna steam itself, and you'll see that a bunch of water is gonna come out of it. It's the only liquid that we're gonna use in this dish aside from the sauce. So I'm gonna turn on my induction cooktop. I'm gonna put it at the lowest it can go, and right away I'm gonna go ahead and cover it up so we don't lose any of the liquid that's inside of the kale. And keep an eye on this, but it should start to steam, and you'll see the condensation stick to the lid. So you can see after 10 minutes or so, it's gonna look something like this. It's wilted a little bit. There's a bit of moisture. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and throw in our other ingredients, which are the tofu. And we're just gonna spread the sauce around as well. It may not look like enough, but once everything wilts a little bit more and more moisture comes out, then it should be good. So give that a good mix. So we're gonna cover that up and continue to cook this. You can turn the heat up a little bit now that the kale has had some chance to let some moisture out. And we'll keep this going for another 10 minutes for tofu. I'd say 15 or 20 minutes for chicken, just so you get enough time for it to cook. But that's about it. I'll come back in a little bit and check on it and see how we're going. So it may not look like much, but this is super tasty. You can see the sauce is just lightly coating these leaves, but it's so much more flavorful than it looks. The bite of the kale, I guess you'd say, is just so much more substantial than cabbage could ever be. So I do really like this better for like a light lunch. You know, you're eating kale on a sauce, so it's fairly healthy. So let me know what you guys think if you try this recipe. If you're able to get all the ingredients you need, let me know how easy that is where you are. And if you like this format, then let me know and I'll keep doing more of my favorite home recipes. So I'll catch you guys next time.